Welcome to the Mile High PotCast. We're your guides through sordid tales of movies, music, and pop culture. Our show is best experienced under the influence of cannabis, so now is your cue to light up. Now remember, drugs are dangerous. Please use responsibly, but do subscribe. And now your hosts, James Thomas and David Hawk.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mile High Podcast. This is a actual new show. As we told you guys last week, we are in between seasons 2 and 3. But why am I here? Well, we thought that we didn't want you guys, who we've built a pretty decent audience now, we didn't want you guys to forget about us over the next few weeks while we're working on our separate projects. And so I thought, why not take everything that you love about the Mile High Podcast and condense it down to a 15 to 20 minute show, and we're calling it the Mile High Podcast Quick Hits. It's basically, we're going to talk about the pop culture news from the previous week, and then we're going to get the fuck out. So welcome to the first episode of the Mile High Podcast, and I have a new guest. This is a person who I've known for the last couple years, but he is brand new to the Mile High Podcast. Welcome, Mr. Jerome Graves. How the hell are you?
Pretty awesome, man. How are you?
I'm well. I asked Jerome to be on this inaugural episode because other than James and Chris and I, he knows a lot of pop culture. So I asked him to be on it because it's more of like a pop culture. Well, don't say that now. Let me tell you a little story here, Jerome. I have a friend who was on an episode, our Christmas episode, and I've known him for his whole life, and he is like, I love Christmas. And then we put him on the episode, and he's like, I don't like Christmas anymore. So I was like, why the fuck are you on the episode? So I've known you. You're a pop culture kind of guy, and they're like, I don't know if I really know pop culture that well. So, like, I believe in you. You're pop culture.
Pop culture? What is this thing?
It's the pop culture. It's like where you have like a lot of old ladies and they're sewing and they're talking about like how to grow flowers and stuff. So this is really a botany show. So we're going to teach you how to grind your own meal. Actually, man, Perfect. This is a weird transition. Weird fucking transition. This is kind of how
your own butter. Where are you going?
This is exactly how these shows go, dude. It's like we start talking and then like we just go on these weird trends. So grinding your own meal reminded me that Jerome actually owned a pizza joint. Jerome, tell us about owning your own pizza joint. Tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
Perfectly. Yeah. The pizza place was awesome. All organic ingredients and some different kind of pizzas. Traditional, just like cheese and pepperoni. So that was really kind of our niche. What I really liked was to bring other menus and then just throw it on a pizza and see if it worked.
I like that. I like that adventurous spirit. So what are you doing now?
Now living the Starbucks life. It's pretty awesome. They take good care of their people.
They do. And that's how I know Jerome. I also work for the Starbucks, as does my wife. So Starbucks is well represented, and we are very positive about Starbucks. Even if I didn't work for the company, I'd still be very positive because they've done really great stuff for their partners especially during COVID. They've really taken care of us. So yeah, that's how I know Jerome. We've had plenty of conversations. Mostly our conversations are about like Top Chef and Great British Baking Show. So this will be a treat to actually talk about some of the cool pop culture news that just dropped yesterday. But you know, we are a weed-centered show. I warned Jerome before he came on that we are a weed-centered show. So I doubt it. I don't even know if you partake or not. It's up to you. You don't have to tell me or not. But I certainly do. And tonight we are smoking the Lilac Diesel from Lightshade on Iliff and Buckley. They always have killer deals, and they happened to text me today and say, hey, it's a snow day. We have a good deal. Come on down. And so I said, yes, Lightshade, I will come on down. And that is what we are smoking tonight here on the Mile High Podcast, Quick Hits. And are you drinking water? Are you drinking a beer? Are you doing anything to stimulate your mind?
I am drinking sparkling water, some Pellegrino.
Nice. Yeah, that's fancy, man. That's some fancy water.
Inspiration for my whiskey.
All right, man. So, Jerome, we always like to talk about, like the first part of our show, we always talk about a couple things. First of all, we talk about what we're up to. Sounds like you're up to working a lot. So we're going to jump right ahead to what are you watching these days? Are there any good shows that we should know about? Anything in particular you've been watching lately?
Been watching a lot of Dairy Girls, for sure.
I do like the Dairy Girls. So I like Dairy Girls, right? When I told James that I liked watching Dairy Girls, he took it in a very different manner than, since I know it's a Netflix comedy show, he took it as a very different context. If you know what I'm saying.
Not Derry.
Yeah, Dairy Girls is great.
Oh, right.
Have you seen Ted Lasso?
Yeah, you guys are telling me about that, and I want to see it.
Oh man, you gotta see Ted Lasso. Best show of last year, and just absolutely brilliant. The acting is brilliant, but the writing is amazing in it. And Jason Sudeikis is so funny. What else are you watching?
Out Girls, Mandalorian for sure. We're on every Friday night is our Mandalorian night, so that's what we're done.
Man, that's a great transition to kind of what we're talking about,
huh? Yeah, inadvertent too. And then we actually did go see Tenet in the theaters.
Nice.
And that was a badass movie.
That was my favorite movie of last year. Did you understand what was going on?
No. I liked that Nolan didn't reveal everything in the beginning, kind of like with Inception, but just really brought the audience along the whole way. And so I didn't really know what was going on until about 90% of the movie was done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was great. And that's one of those movies that you definitely need to see in the theater. Like, I know Warner Brothers really wants to put out their whole slate of 2021 movies onto HBO Max, but like you can't see Tenet the first time just on the TV. You needed the full big screen experience.
No, we got tickets, and so my son, he's like, we have to go see this, and then I was like, sounds good.
Yeah.
But I really love how the character the whole time is just the protagonist. You don't even know his name, so he could be any good guy. There doesn't need to be a name. I really loved that aspect of it.
Yeah, one thing I really loved about the movie is it would have been so easy for Christopher Nolan to film all those scenes, and then when they're on the flip side, just run him the same scene in reverse. No, they actually did the scenes backwards. Like they trained to fight backwards. So like when you're in one scene, the guy's punching him, the other scene, like the punch is getting pulled back. I think it was a brilliant piece of filmmaking. Definitely, you need to be sober to watch it, and you need to probably follow along with Wikipedia if you're watching at home just to see what the hell's going on. That was a tough one to figure out.
Yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, I was immensely impressed with, everybody was actually and moving backwards and all the action scenes going backwards through the filming of it. That was pretty amazing. I mean, it's hard enough to do it forwards, right? Like I can barely walk and chew gum, but then now you have now you're doing all this stuff backwards, and it really got the actor's name who was his friend in it.
Robert
And that's going
Pattinson.
to be the new Batman.
Robert Pattinson.
Yes, man, great way to get yourself back on the screen, and then and basically, like, I can't wait till Batman
Oh yeah,
comes out. 'Cause
yeah.
I
Batman was
was
great.
super impressed with. I thought he and Denzel's boy stole the show. Like, it was just so good.
Yeah, my son and I. So I took my son too, and we went on opening night, and we saw it in IMAX. And I I love Christopher Nolan movies, but they are very hard to understand. Like, go back all the way to Memento, and then go all the way forward to this one. Like, you need to like really pay attention. Um, and Dante, he didn't really understand what was going on, and so that kind of turned him off of it. So he didn't like the movie whatsoever. I mean, like, when we were out there, he's like, boy, did I hate that movie. And I was like, what are you talking about? That was the best movie I've seen all year. Like, this movie's amazing. And it's, he's in that age, 13 years old, where he has a very short attention span. So he's like, give me something that I can understand. And, that's the movie I want to see. Instead of these movies where you have to like really be mentally invested the entire 2 hours. Because if you are not, then you'll miss a piece. And then I totally get where he's getting.
Well, yeah, and it's almost like a humility check too, of like, can I be just stupid for 90 minutes of a show, and then like, aha, like, time, like, you don't want to feel stupid for 5 minutes, let alone an hour and a half. And so I could see where Dante's coming from. Like, no thanks,
Yeah,
I'm good.
exactly.
I'll eat some more popcorn.
So tell me, what do you think of this season of Mando?
Mando this season, I think, has gone to a whole. I really, for one thing, I love the look and the feel of it. That it's Western. It's New Hope, but just a TV version. And then there's the second season. Some of the reveals. I'm glad to see that a lot of the first season, where you thought was just a bunch of one-off episodes, it's actually, they have a plan and it's all connected. And that's what I love, going, oh, nice.
What's been the highlight of the season so far?
Definitely, by far, well, two things. One, so yeah, spoiler alert, for those of you who haven't seen Boba Fett, by far, like, I grew up wearing Boba Fett costumes. Every Boba Fett action figure, Slave One model, to build it, all that stuff. And so seeing just a silhouette of him in the first episode, and then two, and then episode 14, when you get to see how badass Boba Fett is with it. And then so just, that was great. And then I think, what did you think of Boba Fett?
I thought it was very cool. The armor seems to be a little smaller on him these days. Doesn't seem to be fitting him all the way
Right.
around.
He's a little more round. He's
He's
been
a little
eating
bit
a
more
lot of
rotund.
womp rats or something.
Yeah, I hope they explain eventually how he got out of the Starlight Pit, because that's like the great mystery. I think it's in some comic where he gets saved by a robot or something, but it would kind of be nice to, because that's deep cuts how he got out. So it'd be nice to show it on screen.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, I mean, now his face is all scarred up, so definitely.
Yeah. What do you think of Ahsoka? Did you ever watch the Clone Wars or Rebels or anything like that?
Oh yeah, like, and just seeing an Ahsoka, and have her be what you envisioned her to be. Like, I think, like, a lot of times I was cringing knowing that we're gonna see Ahsoka soon in the lead up episodes. I was like, please don't do the thing where you take a beloved character and you just flush them down the toilet. But like, it was how badass she was, and also just from her makeup to her mannerisms, like the actress that played her, can't wait to see more of what they do with Ahsoka.
Yeah, Ahsoka, played by Rosario Dawson. She was the reason why she got cast as this is because there was like it went viral. A bunch of people started this thing like, "Hey, let's get Rosario Dawson to play Ahsoka," and then it turned into Jon Favreau likes to pay a lot of fan service, and so he cast her, and she nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. I thought she was great. I've seen a few episodes of Rebels. I've seen a few episodes of Clone Wars. I'm going back through Clone Wars and starting it. But seems like it's the perfect transition of like an older version of that character that they established. And I also love
What
that.
else has she been in?
She's been in Clerks 2. She was in Daredevil, Iron Fist, all those Marvel shows on Netflix.
Okay.
She was in Rent, I think, also. So she's been around for a while. She's currently dating Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey. Very interesting little factoid there, you know. No, she's a great actress, and I think she did a great job as Ahsoka. And this is a perfect lead into what we're talking about because the reaction for Ahsoka was so great. People were wondering, like, is she going to be given her own series? And yesterday was the Disney investors meeting, which they don't have a D23 this year. They don't have any big celebration because of COVID. So they waited until they had a big Zoom call with their investors, and they have their biggest three franchises, Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney Animation Pixar. They released just an absolute ton of shit. And our episode today is actually called Disney's Big Dick because Disney totally whipped it out and flopped it on the table. So today's Disney's Big Dick. We're talking about that. We're going to go straight into the Ahsoka show. What do you think? You said you watched Rebels, right? Did you watch the whole series?
Yes. Yeah.
So do you think, I know because I read the Wikipedia, I know that Rebels ends kind of with the main character Ezra being taken off by Thrawn, and Ahsoka mentions Thrawn in the episode of Mandalorian. So do you think that her show is going to be her trying to find this kid? Or what do you think about it?
I think her show, will kind of follow suit with kind of what she was doing already in Mandalorian, just writing some wrong planets, where there's oppression and that kind of stuff is kind of what I'm anticipating is like almost like an old country where he goes and rights wrongs in different villages. That she'll kind of end up doing that, but just like on a planet thing. And then probably would love to see Ezra again. At least that character. And if they continue to fan service, I'm sure we'll see him. Hopefully not first, like establish some characters first, but.
So I want to wrap right back around to Mandalorian. So Grogu, first of all, what do you think? Grogu is cool. Okay, you okay with it?
Oh yeah, I love his reaction to his name, and I love that every time he called it chuckles.
What I thought was great. So I'm a huge Jon Favreau fan. Jon Favreau wrote and directed Mandalorian, but Dave Filoni is the guy who really created the Clone Wars and Rebels. Those are all based on his characters. Ahsoka is his character. So I thought it was great that in the episode where we get to meet Ahsoka, Dave Filoni directed the episode, and they also got to name Grogu. So Dave Filoni got to name Grogu, which is unbelievable fan service for him. So good job for that. Did Obi-Wan Kenobi show? We know that there was an Obi-Wan Kenobi show coming. Ewan McGregor was already attached. But what Disney brought out yesterday was that Hayden Christensen is going to reprise his role as Darth Vader. So you know that this show is going to have Darth Vader in it. What do you think about that?
Massive groan.
Explain. Please explain your decision here.
Explain. Hayden Christensen and delivering lines. That's my explanation of, and the emotional depth of of Zero. I don't know. Hopefully they put a mask on him and put some Darth Vader effects, so then that will enable him to be a better actor.
So let's put a different actor in the
I don't know.
costume and let's give it a different voice. And then we're very happy with Hayden Christensen that way.
Then I'm good. I'm totally fine. Yeah. And part of it too, it depends on who directs it too, because Hayden Christensen, I'll give him some is a good actor, is decent, but the direction in the prequels was just abysmal, and so and he even made Ewan McGregor not so.
Hmm. I hope 20 years of growth as an actor will pay off.
Yes.
He wasn't great in there. He also wasn't Jar Jar Binks bad. But I will give him the benefit of the doubt because like Jon Favreau's company, he's kind of go ahead.
I was gonna say Jar Jar Binks or Christian, Hayden Christensen. Okay, yeah. If we're gonna be comparing,
yeah.
then
Jar
I'm
Jar
with
Binks
you.
is bad. I feel bad for the guy who played Jar Jar Binks because he has been given shit ever since that movie came out. But
Oh
that
gosh,
character
like,
is
do you
definitely
keep it
bad.
on your resume for further auditions, or do you just kind of like?
You know that character that literally everybody hated except for 2-year-olds? I played that guy. Like, sorry, I can't have you.
That
Sorry, I can't
was
have
me.
you in my X-Lax commercial, Jar Jar.
Misa's so
It'd be
sad.
it'd be cool though to see Darth Vader again because we didn't get to see him in the sequels. We only heard his breath a couple times. We didn't actually get to see him. The last time we saw him was in Rogue One, which brings me to the last live action show that Star Wars is doing. They're doing a show called Andor, which takes it's a Rogue One spinoff. I'm talking about the guy who met up with the lady. I have their names written down. I can't find it. Diego Luna plays the guy. I know his name, but his name's Andor. So it's a show about Andor.
Okay.
What do you think of Rogue One?
Rogue One. So are they going to be doing a spinoff of like Rogue One for like the X-wing fighters, or are you just talking about like?
Did you ever see?
Rogue
You saw
One?
Have you seen Rogue One though?
Oh yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
Andor is
I
the guy
thought.
that has IG-88 with him, or the other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The the brand of Rogue
Yes.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
thought Rogue
basically
One
him.
was.
The synopsis of the show is him up to the point where he meets Jyn Erso. So he is like one of the very first rebels. After the Clone Wars, the Empire comes back, and then the very small rebellion starts, and he's one of the original ones. And so it's going to kind of follow him from that point on.
Gotcha. Yeah, that pretty interesting. Just it would almost be kind of Star Wars / James Bondy because he was like doing all these like secret missions and trying to figure out like just to be a rebel but not get caught because the Empire is so powerful at that point. So that sounds pretty interesting to me. Even like Rogue One, the movie was, I think, one of the best Star Wars movies.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Because from the beginning everyone's gonna die, and so like to even know that and then still have attachment to the characters, and such, and then see Darth Vader just at the end, and then just the sheer terror. It was a great segue to New Hope, and you can just see like how depleted the rebels are, and like you can understand why they're just so frazzled and on the run and have nothing that they have, and because they've just spent everything they had to get the plans out. And so such a great then reintroduction to New Hope, and then just the plight that they're in. I loved it. Loved it
too. James, who I normally co-host the show with, that's his favorite Star Wars movie, period. And I definitely think it's right up there. As I really enjoyed the sequels, I probably think The Last Jedi was the best of the three. Oddly enough, I think that's the one that's getting the most shit. But I think after the first three, it'd be Rogue One for me.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of Last Jedi.
Well, yeah, it's fair. That's a totally fair argument.
But I did like the redemption of Kylo Ren. I did like the ability to turn somebody back, because they always talk about it, but never see it play out other than the very last moments of Darth Vader throwing the Emperor down. So you don't get to really see what actually happened, like when somebody turns. So yeah, I did like that aspect of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I liked them way better than a lot of the fanboys did. So it's very polarized. The Star Wars universe is very polarized, but everybody loves fucking Mando. Mando's brought everybody together.
Oh yeah,
Baby Yoda has brought the world together. Just a couple of quick other shows that are coming out of Lucasfilm. They're doing an animated movie a show called Bad Batch, which is a bad batch of clones who their programming, they're meant to go work for the Empire, but their programming or their cloning got jacked up, and so they become one of the first team of rebels, and they were clones that are supposed to be in the Empire, but they went bad. So that's a cool one. The one I think is the most interesting is that Lucasfilm signed up with a Japanese anime company, and so they're going to do a Star Wars anime, traditional Japanese anime show from Star Wars. So some cool stuff coming out. Oh, there's also a show called Rangers of the Republic. Is that right? Oh, what the fuck? I can't read my own handwriting. But there's a Ranger show. It's going to be like X-Wing
English,
pilots.
that's so good.
Yeah. So that is everything.
That'll be cool. There was a book. I wonder if they're going to follow it. It's called Wraith Squadron, and so it's kind of like a bank or a big heist movie. So you have like all these like specialists, but they also fly X-wings. And then there's a guy that kind of dabbles with the Force. Did you ever read that book series, the Wraith Squadron? It takes place right after the fall of the Emperor. And I'm curious if they'll end up following kind of that plot line, because it's pretty badass what they end up doing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I hope that that's what they're coming through, and I like that Lucasfilm is hitting all different timelines with their shows. They're doing stuff like right in between the first series and then the original trilogy. Then you have stuff from Return of the Jedi to Jedi Return to whatever the fuck it was called. I like how they're hitting all these different parts of the timeline.
Yes.
So
they're filling all the gaps.
They're filling all the gaps. They're filling in all the pieces of the puzzle. I like the fact that like Mando is really not Jedi centered. It has really nothing to do with Skywalker. He can have his own their adventure in this galaxy far, far away. All right, so let's go from one of
to
Disney,
the point where he's like, "What are the Jedi?"
Yeah, like what are the Jedi? Like I like that aspect. He's like, I have no idea who these Jedi are, and then he meets one. He's like, oh, these guys are kind of badass. They're a real pain in the ass, but they are badass.
Okay.
All right, so Disney's part of their big dick is they also own Marvel, and Kevin Feige jumped on, and Kevin Feige is. Every time he comes on, something special happens. So he came on. One of the things that he first talked about, like they're delaying Black Panther 2, obviously because Chadwick Boseman's dying. He died. They're delaying it a few months, and they are not going to recast the Black Panther. They're going to take a more centered around Wakanda and their place in the Marvel universe. But they're not going to replace Chadwick Boseman. So Tell me what you think about that.
I move. Just because Chadwick was so good as Black Panther, and to try and recast, I think it would just do a disservice
Mm-hmm.
to the work he did with it. I love that they're going to be moving on with his baby sister,
Yeah.
and just like his dad died, Black Panther, so he dies, so his sister becomes. I mean, it just makes sense, and so to see her and her sassiness, and like she's gonna have to grow up fast, and so I'm curious to see how that plays out.
I think it's going to be. I think Shuri is a great character. Anyway, and we knew eventually she's going to be the Black Panther. So I'm sure it's a little bit sooner than they thought, and they're going to have to be creative. Kind of like going back to Star Wars, like how they had to retcon Princess Leia's death and into it. I know they're going to do a good job.
Right.
Ryan Coogler is a great director. He's a great writer. They announced Ant-Man 3. How do you like the Ant-Man series?
Ooh, I think if you ever want like just a fun,
Mhm.
just fun. I mean, Paul Rudd is just hilarious, and so just I'm excited to see it. I didn't know you just said it right now, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and what I like about it is that Ant-Man, who's kind of a throwaway character, he's like one step up from Hawkeye in the Marvel universe, but like
Exactly.
because of him, you have Endgame. So they're making him a really important part of this timeline. Like if Paul Rudd didn't come back from the quantum zone or get trapped in the quantum zone in Ant-Man 2, then you wouldn't have Endgame and the time travel aspect. So I like that they're putting a lot of weight on Ant-Man's character. The biggest news, besides the fact that they're bringing back Alfred Molina as Doc Ock in the new Spider-Man, they're bringing Tobey Maguire back, Andrew Garfield back, Jamie Foxx from the last Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. They're putting all these Spider-Man together, creating like a little Into the Spider-Verse type of movie for Spider-Man 3. How do you like Spider-Man, and what do you think of bringing all the different timelines together?
Oh man, that's one thing. Into the Spider-Verse, the animated one with Miles Morales, so good,
Yeah, best
so good,
Spider-Man
and
movie.
so to be able to see something like that in live action scares me,
Yeah.
honestly. I
No,
thought Tobey Maguire did great as Spider-Man, and so I loved, even just the when he's fighting with being Venom and not being Venom, and like the look he has going down the Tobey Maguire swagger walk is creepy, but pretty good. And so yeah, um, I thought the other ones were too soon after Maguire, but um,
yeah.
it's okay. It's I thought they were good. They were still fun. But Tom Holland Spider-Man, I think by far has been my favorite. Just
Absolutely.
revisiting that he's actually with superpowers.
Yeah, I other than Into the Spider-Verse, which is the best Spider-Man movie ever made, um, Far
Agreed.
From Home with
Agreed.
Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal. I mean, that was the best Spider-Man movie, like live action Spider-Man movie. And I
Oh,
loved Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire and Alfred Molina, but Far From Home was spectacular. Spider-Man.
well, yeah. I mean, he's with the mantle, right? He's dealing with having to be the main superhero now to
Yeah, absolutely.
the world. It's not just New York anymore. And so, like, how does, a 17, 18-year-old kid deal with that? Well, given the opportunity, you let somebody else do it. And so, yeah, there's complete plausibility for his decisions throughout the whole. And yeah, it's such a great way to explore that. Um, and then just that, yeah, it's just, and then finally coming into his own and going, yeah, I can do this. I could do this without the stuff. And so yeah, and I can only do it with my friends. And so that's part.
Absolutely. One thing I love about the Tom Holland ones is that he really is just a kid, and so they talk about, and he lives through kid problems. Tobey Maguire, he's too old. Andrew Garfield, he was too old. They didn't talk about what it was like to be an awkward kid. And that's the core of who Spider-Man is. He's just a goofy kid who happens to be a superhero. And I think Tom Holland really captures that well, and Marvel captures that well. Big news is the biggest news of yesterday for Marvel. Fantastic Four. They announced a Fantastic Four movie. So, what do you feel about Fantastic Four? And are you upset are you bummed out that they did Fantastic Four over X-Men?
No, X-Men has been done well and done poorly, all by this. And so it's good to explore. I think Fantastic Four give us a break from X-Men a little bit. Give Hugh Jackman a break from being Wolverine, because that's really has ever been the only redeeming factor of it has been Hugh Jackman being Wolverine, and then and Logan
Logan's so good.
was just so good. To bring anything back, that it's just, again, there needs to be space. Just hope that they don't bring Chris Evans as the Torch again.
What about Michael B. Jordan?
That would be great, honestly. But yeah, he's already,
Well, Chris Evans was Human Torch, and then Michael B. Evans was Human Torch, and so maybe they can come together. If they can bring all the other Spider-Mans together, maybe they can bring all the Human Torches together.
Exactly, bring them all together. But yeah, I think it'd be great. There's the other ones have just been so bad. You can only be good, and if it's with the same group, and the same mindset, honestly,
I'm gonna blow your mind. So the guy who directed the Spider-Man movies is in charge of the Fantastic Four movie.
Okay, I'm in.
I sold you already. I should get a cut. I should get a cut from Disney for these ticket sales.
You honestly should, because you converted a hater. So nice job.
Nice. All right, some of the shows that Disney announced, some of the new ones. Obviously, we know about Winter Soldier. We know about WandaVision. They announced that it'll be like January 19th, I believe. WandaVision's coming out. I'm excited for that. It's going to be more like a sitcom, they say, like a weird sitcom. Right. And then the rumor is that Scarlet Witch is going to be the bad for the next Doctor Strange movie. So maybe we see, maybe she goes mad from whatever happens in WandaVision. Miss Marvel. Do you know who Miss Marvel is? Are you familiar with that character?
Are we talking like not Captain Marvel?
No, they didn't announce that Captain Marvel will be out in 2022, but Miss Marvel is a new superhero from the last maybe 10 years or so. She is a Pakistani girl who all of a sudden gets these crazy superpowers. She's really good friends with Peter Parker. But she's having an immigrant Pakistani Muslim girl as a major comic book character was pretty groundbreaking, and she's getting her own show on Disney Plus, directed by people Indian and Muslim, people of that descent, and they're writing it. Mindy Kaling is producing it. She's not the showrunner, but she's a producer on it. So I'm very excited. Miss Marvel, the comics are amazing if you haven't checked those out already. So I'm very excited for that.
I haven't.
Oh, you got to check it out.
Yeah, if Mindy Kaling's involved, it'll be.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a goofy, kind of like what we like about Spider-Man. She's a girl who's a goofy kid, and she's an immigrant, and living in New York, and all of a sudden she becomes super powerful. And so it's going to be more on the aspect of I'm a goofy girl who's also an immigrant, and now I have powers. So I think that's a really cool direction that they're going to go. And she's going to make an appearance in Captain Marvel here. So that'll be cool. A couple other shows, Armor Wars.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a War Machine-led show. In the comics, Tony Stark's armor is stolen, and it's up to War Machine to defeat it. I don't know who the bad person is or why it got stolen, but it's a War Machine-led show. And then a really cool one is called Secret Invasion, where the Skrulls, who can turn into different people, in Secret Invasion, they've actually replicated certain superheroes in the Marvel Universe. And Secret Invasion is like everybody's turning on each other because nobody knows who's a Skrull and nobody knows who's the real person. So these are a couple new shows at Disney Plus. Do you have any relationship to either of those storylines? Or any comments on those?
Not too much. Not too much. I'm curious if the Skrulls can actually still have that if they replicate like one of the Avengers or something, but because there was a cartoon Avengers about 5-6 years ago. It was on Netflix, and the Skrulls were actually like this super elite alien race that was destroy everybody. And yeah, they took Captain America's place, and so
yeah.
And so that was kind of interesting, and then to see them on Captain Marvel, the movie, and actually be, a threatened genocide Titan race.
That was interesting. It was an interesting turn because I wonder how they're gonna do this storyline if the Skrulls or appear to be good. Like how do they have that storyline? Because you have to have the replicants. You can't just have a new race of beings that do the same thing as these guys, but they're bad.
Right, exactly. Yeah. They're not the Skrulls, they're the Skrills.
The Skrill. Oh, the Skrills. Our ancient nemesis, the Skrills. All right, so that's pretty much for Marvel. My question is, Marvel's coming out with a lot of TV shows, right? And they're all connected to the Marvel Universe, man. Is it too much? Especially since they're all connected?
That's a lot to juggle, honestly. Like, there's 18 movies that are all connected of feature movies, and then now to try to flesh out more characters and see how they go. Too much. I keep on thinking that it's too much, but then I enjoy it every time I go see it, and then it just, and then I fall in love with it again, and so it's. I mean, no, it's not.
Yeah, fair. My concern is I'm a less is more guy. So the more balls you throw in the air, the less likely you are to catch them all. So hopefully, Marvel puts out an impeccable product. I just hope that they can continue to have that same kind of quality, and that they're not going to overextend themselves and kind of lessen the quality. Because that would really disappoint me if all of a sudden, it stopped becoming a real high quality product. So that's Marvel.
And just not having any of the complete stories that they have right now, and so that would be the. Agree with you. I would be. That's where I have caution.
Yeah, but I'll watch them. Even if they're bad, I'll still watch them because I'm a loyal fan. I'm a bitch. I will do anything you tell me to do. All right, so that's Marvel's Big Dick. And finally, we're going to wrap it up. We went way longer. I told poor Jerome, this will be 15, 20 minutes total. And we're 50 minutes in. Because when you talk pop culture, man, it's hard to stop. So we're just going to breeze through Disney real quick. Disney shows that they're putting out. They're going to put out a Moana show, a Tiana from Princess and the Frog. There's going to be a Baymax show. Peter Pan and Wendy is going to Disney Plus. The show that I'm excited for is they're coming back with Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers with Andy Samberg and John Mulaney as the voices. That's going to be amazing. Two great comedians.
That's going to be I remember work after school to Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
On TV. And to have Andy Samberg and Mulaney, that's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's going to be so good.
Let's see, some of the movies that Disney came out with. We all know that Pinocchio is going to be out, and Tom Hanks is going to be Geppetto. There's a movie called Encanto, a movie called like Turning Red. They partnered with like an African animation studio, and they're coming out with a movie called Iwaju. But there's two movies I'm really excited for coming out of Disney. One, Pixar is doing a movie called Lightyear, and it's all about Buzz Lightyear starting in Space Command, and it's going to be voiced by Chris Evans. So I'm very excited for that. And I like that they're not doing like another Toy Story movie. They're taking the character, but they're going to reimagine them. And I love Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear. I think that's going to be great.
Yeah, that's perfect. They're doing. I mean, it's nice. That's not going to be Toy Story 5, because they've made me cry too many times already. And so, but to actually like they're doing this as like like a solo movie for Star Wars. It's Lightyear for Toy Story. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. And lastly, Harrison Ford has recently signed on, and they are beginning production on Indiana Jones 5. Indiana Has Dementia. I'm not sure. I think that's just the working title. But what do you think about another Indiana Jones?
Indiana and a Walker is with the Walker. Yeah, he's like Carl from Up now, and he's
that's great.
I'm a sucker for Indiana. I'm not gonna lie. I just introduced it to my boys about a month ago, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and nice. It still holds today as it did before. So I hope that they don't try to pass the torch to Shia LaBeouf again.
Yeah.
Because he burnt his fingers and the whole set, and so when they drop, let's see what happens.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf's character is terrible. I hope he's off in college or something. Like when they go back to filming, like explain his character away, like he's off traveling the world or something. There was a rumor
he's
that
off traveling the world.
Yeah, Chris Pratt was going to take over there, but apparently that's not going to happen. It's going to be 80-year-old Indy. That'll be a very interesting movie. So that's pretty much it. That's what Disney had to offer. They're also doing a Willow show. I loved Willow the movie. I don't know if you've ever seen Willow.
Oh,
they're doing a show, good. And they've signed on Val Kilmer. He can't talk. He has like one of those things like that. Yeah, Mad Mardigan, but he has to talk out of his esophagus. He has to have a little talky thing like. So I don't know how they're going to do that. That's going to be very interesting. So that's it. That's
all these ancient action heroes come back.
Yeah. All right. So that is our first episode of the Mile High Podcast Quick Hits, which ended up being slightly shorter than our normal Mile High podcast. So I should just call this as a regular Mile High podcast. But a lot of good stuff to talk about. A lot of good pop culture stuff. I'm sure going forward, it'll be closer to like 15, 20 minutes, but there's a lot of pop culture that came out yesterday. Make sure you guys keep in touch with us. We have Chucky Pacific Bad Movie Reviews. We're premiering that next week. The next episode of the Mile High Podcast Quick Hits is coming on 12/23. We are kicking off the season 3 for the Mile High Podcast on January 29th, which happens to be my birthday, and it's also the day we are dropping the first trailer for the Centauri Project. Centauri Project they're ending up their season this Sunday. They are in Orlando right now. They're putting out a bunch of great videos from Walt Disney World, where Centauri and Mary Beth both worked. Those are great, so make sure you follow all our shows on www.truckypacific.com. If you love what we're doing, if you hate what we're doing, if you have any ideas for future shows, or if you want to be on the Mile High Podcast, you can email us at themilehighpodcast@gmail.com. And we want your money. There's no way to like really be around the bush, man. I like doing this. It's fun. But I really desperately want your money, and I want to make your money my money. So if you can do that for me, please go to @ChuckyPacific303. That is our Venmo page. If you sponsor us, like give us like $50, then we'll have you on a show, and you can choose the topic that we talk about. But if you just want to donate $1, $5, $69 because you're being goofy, we'll take it all. So that's all I have. Jerome, thank you so much for being on the show. I hope I didn't scare you away. I hope to have you back on. What'd you think?
Yeah, for sure. It was fun.
Well, I'm glad you came on. Definitely would love to have you on again. We're going to do a Star Wars versus Star Trek, which is better. We're going to have one of those, so maybe we can bring you on then. We also have some comic book episodes coming up in season 3 that we'd love to have you on. So thank you. I really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man, taking time out of your day. You've been up, slaving away, pouring coffee all day long and trying to be friendly. Well, for you,
Slinging lattes.
yeah. You're a very friendly person. I work to be friendly, but you're just naturally friendly. So I just want to let you know. All right, well, that's it, guys. Well, thank you so much, guys. You have a great night, and take care. See you soon. Bye.
This has been a Truckee Pacific production. For sponsorship inquiries and comments, go to the Mile High PotCast @gmail.com.